We have a bi-weekly podcast where we love to talk about the state of the game with a fellow Lorcana Lumineer. Today, I have the pleasure of honestly having seen the amount of success the tournaments that his store has hosted, and for the amount that they're giving back for the community. I don't want to take away your introduction. Please let us know who we're interviewing today.
Well, first and foremost, thank you guys for having me. My name is Devin. For you guys who don't know me, I am the owner of Southside Gaming over in South Florida, Margate to be exact. And I'm just very happy to be here with you guys.
Awesome. Welcome, Devin. Welcome to the Lorcana Goons channel. We're here with Zach Stone for every 2 weeks we do this podcast. So we want to talk about the state of the game. Before you hopped in here, I was asking Zach, like, oh yeah, Southside was one of the first tournaments of this Arcasia's Island format. I feel like I really helped shape the meta. And looking back on it, I was bringing up the deck list right now, and I immediately noticed that they all say banned. So because as we know now, this was pre-ban list. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was such a big tournament, man. We often are a little bit, I would say, a little envious over here on the west side because we don't have tournaments that big. But what's it like, being able to? What's it like organizing? First of all, like what goes into putting together a tournament, with like more than a couple hundred players, and what's the scene out there in Florida like for those who don't know?
Well, first and foremost, the scene out here with the players. I mean, out the player base down here, very talented, very talented individuals that ironically come to our locals, right? And this is not just with Lorcana. This is amongst every card game. I've been saying it quite some time over a lot of different podcasts as well. That South Florida, in my opinion, has bred some of the best card players in the country in the country or in the world, I should say. And you know, being able to put together something, some of these events as quick as we do, because sometimes I don't know if y'all know this, I'm a little sporadic in some of the events that we host, but I would not be able to do this without two aspects. One, my team, without everyone, all hands on deck, and how passionate they are, I wouldn't be able to put some of these events together. And then secondly, the community. I mean, Lorcana's community can be, in my opinion, the best community out there just because of the passion, the friendliness, the camaraderie. So all the combination of everything, it's exciting, but it's the passion amongst the players along with my team. We couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, I say this all the
So,
time. Like the community carries the weight in the game, and meeting you at Frankensons was actually a very coincidental, man. But I gotta say, dude, shout outs to the chain, rocking your store's brand
let's see if I have.
with the chain. You had it
Yeah, I
on.
have it
I
right
always
here.
gotta have it
Yeah,
on.
a little
I see
tangled,
it.
but I have it right here.
Oh, nice.
That is,
Yeah,
Oh,
dude. That
yeah,
piece
yeah.
is
yeah,
crazy.
Yep.
yeah. I
No,
appreciate it.
I was, dude, trust me. I was like, there's no. I saw the hat and I was like, oh, okay. You know what? For Lorcana, I'm sure he's here to see Lorcana. Saw the chain. I was like, oh, he's a part of it. I didn't recognize who you were based off that, but it was a pleasure, man. And it's good to see you know people and tournament organizers actually doing things like that for the drought we have of official events right now.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. But not only are you have to do this as a team, you had to start somewhere. Is there any part of your journey that you felt like was the hardest? I mean, how long has Southside Gaming, or how long have you been like a TCG store owner for?
So we haven't actually broken our 1 year mark yet. June 26th will be our officially our 1 year mark. Funny enough, we actually opened up on 6/26 and we hosted our first Lacana local. It was for Stitch. It was we hosted as a Stitch day, a Stitch tournament. And the
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it was cool. The prize support was the Rockstar. It was it Rockstar Stitch, I believe. One of the two. I think it was the prize card. Anyways, yeah, we haven't hit a year yet. I think it's about 10 months, but I think the biggest challenge was just um, building our locals, right? Because my area, there was only one store that really had consistent locals firing, and they would fire about 8 to 10 players. So we had to organically grow that that our player base, and we partnered up with the South Florida Lorcana network. And without them, we wouldn't be able to, because we do a huge collab with them. Shout out to them, because without them, we wouldn't be able to get to where we're at today for sure.
Nice. I know you mentioned your team in terms of I'm sure the people who help you put your store together. But what can you tell us a little bit about the team of players that you have from the variety of games that we can see at the tournaments wearing the Southside merch? Because I know just recently, I believe Zach Bivens is a part of Southside
Yep.
Gaming now, right? For Lorcana.
Yes, he is.
But I've also seen the sweaters in other card games. So what can you tell us about the other players?
Oh man! So first, to begin with, a lot of players just love our logo. My ex, well, my a brother of mine, he created a logo for us, and that just drives us well. But we have sponsored teams amongst all games. Uh, Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. We're getting into the Magic scene. Um, I think I don't think I meant
Any One Piece?
definitely One Piece as well. Shout out to Billy McManus. He actually just topped 8 over at the I believe in Peoria.
Oh, nice,
Um,
nice.
yeah.
Nice.
So you guys go take a look at that. I think he did a deck profile, but yeah. So, um, but our groups the same passion that we have in our Lorcana scene is spread amongst all of our other games as well. And ironically, they're all from South Florida, right? We didn't really go out there and go and try to acquire some of these players. These were all players from our area that we either A, known since they were younger, or B, um, we've seen them rise from our area like recently, right? So one of our biggest players, he's really well rounded. I don't know. I'm sure you heard his name before. His name, Kamal Crook. I mean, I know
Yeah, yeah.
We know Kamal. Shout
yeah, I
outs to
know those are,
Kamal. Heck yeah.
yeah, shout out to Kamal,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Kamal, listen, I mean, when we started, Ruben, Hani, I mean, some of these bigger players, especially in the Yu-Gi-Oh scene, they really go out there and push and push our brand, not just from just playing the game, but they help spread the word on what it is that we believe in. And
Yeah, no, I think Lorcana, One Piece, like all these card games you mentioned are great games. Lorcana being like the more recent one. One Piece is still newer into the scene. But you
yeah,
have classic card games. And honestly, if you guys don't know who Kamal Crooks is, this is a well-rounded player throughout multiple TCGs. He actually made his way into the North American Continentals by winning his LCQ pod, and he qualified for that event, and that's incredible because that man is a multi-time YCS champion. He's qualified for Pokemon World Championships.
yep,
So again, shout outs to Kamal. He's actually someone I know more personally, and a
yeah.
really good homie. But the amount of players that are committed to these card games is fascinating because just similarly like South Florida, we're in a heavy dominated TCG area, being local to the Orange County, LA area, and we see it all too. We see all the card games, being at the shows that Kevin and I are both at. We see people coming back and forth. And what started it for you? Because I know my story into TCGs, but how did you get into this space as like a player?
So, well, as a player, I mean, I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh a long time ago. I'm talking about back in like the early 2000s, and I stopped playing. And then during high school, I came back into the Yu-Gi-Oh scene, but probably about like 2009, 2010. And unfortunately, I was
That's
I did
Edison
really
format,
well.
right?
Yeah, it's Edison and a little bit after Edison, and I'm actually very passionate about
Synchros.
Edison. That's my synchros. Right when Exceeds first came out, that's when I kind of started like playing heavy again, and then
Hmm.
I went to one regional. I did very well, but then I stopped. I just didn't have the time to balance. You know, I was playing sports, school, whatever. I had a girlfriend at the time, so I just couldn't really balance it out. And I don't, fast forward a little bit more, and my childhood friend that we actually went to, we grew up playing these card games, really pushed me to open up a shop with him. And fortunately, unfortunately, right now, we had to part ways with separate paths. So now I'm the sole owner. But he really, I was supposed to just be behind the scenes, just give a little resources here and there. But I just fell in love with it, and I just wanted to go pedal to the metal. But Yu-Gi-Oh was what got me into opening up a shop and that economy. And once I started opening my eyes and I saw that, all the different card games out there, Pokemon, One Piece really started our shop. But then the Lorcana, and I started playing a little bit with Lorcana, and then I, experienced the realm of Bucky. So I stopped playing because of that.
Oh
But
no.
I fell back in love. Yeah, I stopped playing because of that. But my general manager, Kylie, if you go take a, if you've seen any of our episodes, you'll see who Kylie. Shout out to Kylie. He super passionate, big Disney guy, big Lorcana guy, and he really opened my eyes about this community. And since then, I mean, I fell in love with it. And this is what Lorcana really is what helped us, like, put us on the map. Uh, to be quite honest.
Nice, man. So it sounds like you're a
Yeah.
card game player too at heart, right? So you said you
Oh yeah.
you did well at some regionals. You were playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
I always tell people too, you never really quit card games. Every now and then you have like a
Never.
break. Yeah, you always have like a break where I've done it too. I've sold all my cards before. I said, you know what? I mean, I'm over this, and then you always come
Mhm.
back to it. You always come back to it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see it working out for you like that, man. It's definitely
Yeah, I appreciate
a
it.
passion of mine too. I really appreciate seeing players come to like weekly leagues. Not only because like it's just a great way to make friends. I know it sounds really corny, but like at some point you just need to make homies. You know what I mean? Like it's just good to have people in your community that are going to support you, and that's usually where
100%.
the card game community kind of has your back. You know what I mean? Like you're all there for the same reason. You want to play. Some of you want to win. Some of you just want to have fun, which you can do both at the same time. But the fact that like the communities are just so active and consistent, I think is so great about this game. Especially like we just mentioned, there's not that many events from there's no official events going on right now. Let's be clear. Let's be
Yeah.
clear. There's no official events going on right now. So local game store owners like you are really like the people that are cultivating and keeping the community alive right now by offering like prizing or even just a way to like show off like our competitive nature. Because like at the end of the day, like a lot of it's about sportsmanship and a lot of it is we want to see who's the best in this format, the Bucky format, the post ban list format.
Yeah.
Um, but I gotta ask Evan, out of all the card games you've seen and I've tried out, what is your favorite card game to play?
Lorcana, hands down.
Oh,
Lorcana.
okay. Oh, nice, nice.
For the TCGs, yeah. I'm also a big poker player, so I play a lot of poker. But
Oh,
Lorcana, yeah. But Lorcana, in my opinion, I can actually explain why. Um, First of all, the game, in my opinion, is very well rounded. Right? It reminds me a little bit. I also played a lot of Hearthstone. Reminds me of a real life
Yeah.
version of Hearthstone.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
yes,
Um,
love that
sir.
game.
Yes,
Love
yeah,
sir.
yeah,
Hearthstone.
love
Zoo
Hearthstone, right?
Warlock and all
Oh,
that Dragon
now
Warrior.
you're talking
Oh,
my
dude. Yep.
language.
Frost Mage, bro.
Dude,
Now
I'm
you're
Freeze
telling
talking
Mage.
you,
Freeze
dude.
Mage.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to brag, but right when Wild came out, I was ranked those legend ranked 2 Wild on the ladder for North America ladder for a couple of
Dang.
days. So. But
Best I've ever
Right.
finished was like 95 or 96 of like one of the
yeah,
Oh wow.
seasons. Not
No.
too bad, but yeah.
yeah. But yeah. But to answer that question, Lorcana, in my opinion, and I know I love it. So, but or because we do so well with it, that's not the reason. I'm not biased towards it because of that. I just find the concept of it, right? First and foremost, yes, it's a newer game, but it just doesn't feel bad. Like no one likes losing, right? But it doesn't feel bad when you lose, right? Because you like. I think it's because I always say this to everyone else. All these other card games, you lose life, right? This is a race. You're not losing anything. You're going. You're trying to get to 20 lore, right? That's number one. And then number two is just that the interactions between, and I always come back to the community. The interactions aren't bad. Like I haven't had any negative interactions when it comes to Lorcana. And I think we have exposure to a lot of these other events as well, not just ours, but going other, traveling with the team. And everyone's it's just a good experience. And I think that's why I love this game so much. And I think there's a really good future ahead of us with this game, right? But yeah, this is definitely my favorite game. And I tried, I played Pokemon, I played Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic. I love Magic. But in One Piece, I'm not the biggest fan of One Piece, but yeah, but Lorcana, in my opinion, is my favorite game, hands down.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel the same way. It reminds me so much of Hearthstone, and to me, I think
yeah,
mechanically, it's the game that just calls out to me the most. But I try to play all the other games. I learned Pokemon and One Piece this year. I've known how to play
mhm,
Magic. I don't play it too much though. But as Zach mentioned earlier, like eventually we're trying to get to a position where like we have a shop, and a big brand that's
mhm.
like very well known. It's just right now in California, everything seems so like I guess expensive, and I see
Yeah,
the Pokemon industry just booming right now. So
yeah,
like Yeah, so I guess in general, like there's a lot of people who are in the same position as us, Zach. Like there are people who have been vending a little bit longer, less than like, not that long. What's like the best piece of advice you can give to somebody who wants to get there?
Build your community organically, and then get your, definitely your consumers organically, right? And actually, to go back to a little bit of what you guys have, right, over in the West Coast. See, we don't have anything like Frankenstein's, right? Where these you guys have access to, to where you don't have to have that major brick and mortar, that overhead, the overhead expense that I have. Now, I know, granted, I do know there are pros and cons to both, but every time I take a step into Frankenstein's, I feel the hum. I see, granted there are different types of, it's not just TCGs. You do have all, your figurines, and you do have your consoles and the older stuff like that. But in my opinion, I see so many card players go there, and what you just said, it's expensive. Like, I'm from the West Coast, I'm from the East Coast, so we don't have the taxes that you guys have, right? So whenever I go and try to purchase something over there, it is much more expensive opposed to where I'm from, right? But I still go over there and I still have to get it. It's like when I go to you guys, where you guys are, right? Frankenstein's, it's like a candy store. I go in there, and it's a problem because I buy everything. I walk out of there not wanting something, and I get everything, right? So, um, but you guys, it's amazing because I believe the community's there, and I believe that you have a lot of different players there. It's just building that community to where it's so important to have the consistency of these locals, right? That, and having the camaraderie, that is what's so important. I just had this conversation the other day. We used to have like 5, 6 man locals. Now we have 20, 30 man locals amongst all card games. But it took time to get there. You have to stay consistent. You have to give back to the communities. It's not just about, making money, but it's being there for everybody, right? Like you said earlier, it's being there with the homies. You gotta make it feel like they're hanging out with the boys and the girls. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like
Mhm,
having that chance to provide that too, because having a store means you have to have employees, you have to have people that are
mhm,
working there, and they have to have like expertise in these games that they're playing. This is like a tough business to run because you can't just hire somebody off the street and teach them this stuff. They have to
right.
have some sort of precedent. They have to have some knowledge coming into this space. And I can fully attest to the amount of love and support that is given to me at the Frankenson show. So
Mhm,
100% thankful for all of the support that we have, the Goon Squad community, and pretty much everything that has to do with the local SoCal scene here, because it's pretty tight knit. We have our Inland Empire area, and we have like our LA based area, and then we have our OC area and San Diego
mhm,
too. Don't get me wrong, there's some heavy hitters out there. Christian Paleo, who qualified for the NA Continentals, and plenty more out there that I'm sure I'm forgetting. But the amount of spaces that can exist to provide this community for players and for people in that sort, it's dwindling down because there's not so many stores that are as successful, that are doing that well. Shout outs to the ones that we have consistent shops at, like Collectors Lounge in my local area. I always love giving them a shout out when I can. So yeah, like the advice for stores that are missing that space, is there any that you can say? Because there's been plenty of experiences that we've heard through our comment section, or just in general, that they're not getting what they need from the stores.
yeah. So, and my biggest thing when it comes to giving advice to all these other these other store owners is that it's tough because I came into this space not as a card player, right? Because I haven't played for years. So what I see in my area, I can't speak for the rest of the country, but what I see in my area is that you have a lot of these card players that are coming into this space as card players, right? So with that, what do I mean by that? Is that you kind of nailed it earlier, Zach, when you mentioned that there's different challenges, right? Like, it's the hiring. I have to hire employees that are passionate about all these card games, but actually not that they want to work, but they have that skill set to they come into work, leave whatever is going on outside of the shop, outside of the shop, bringing in positivity, spreading positivity. At the same time, working, going in there, whether it's sorting cards, posting on TCG Player, whether it's cleaning up, whether it's helping host some of our locals. And it's very, that's why I'm blessed that I have the team that I have now. But you have to teach some of these employees that, because it only makes sense to hire individuals that know about the card games, right? And if they're there in the space that they want to actually play while they're working, it's tough, right? So you have to have that balance between okay, now I have to be a boss in the store, like an owner versus a friend, but I also don't want them to burn their passion in some of these card games. So it's a challenge, right, to say the least. My biggest advice I'm so sorry, to get back to your question. You said it was
Oh, you're good.
biggest advice to the store owners or
Yeah, just if you had any, so there's some store owners that are trying to make it work, trying to make it right, trying
yeah,
to rewrite their wrongs. What would be some
okay.
advice for those store owners?
My biggest advice, because now that's all dependent on how long they've been open. Now, granted, I'm not even saying the biggest expert, but the best thing I was always taught, whether it was from my mentors or my father. Like my father is my best friend. That's my superhero. Always told me when things get rough, no matter whatever you're doing in life, go back to the fundamentals, right? And the biggest thing about business is our economy is in our society is constantly evolving. So sometimes we have to adapt with the change, right? If there's a lot of, if you have a store that opened up down the street and they're taking, I wouldn't say they're taking some of your players, but you see what they're doing that works. Don't be scared to, I'm not saying emulate them, but see what they're doing, acknowledge it, and then go ahead and make it your own, right? So my biggest thing is literally take a step back, observe what's going on with every game, every community, and see what is working for everyone else. Now, what I like doing is I like giving back to my communities, right? I look at it as marketing, right? Because I come from the marketing space. So I typically don't spend my marketing dollars on Google ads or going on Instagram or Facebook. What I do is I use that towards prize support, right? Because just like baseball, right? You build the field, they're going to come. Same thing with that. You go and host these big turn, these healthy prize pool tournaments and guarantee your prizing, whether it's whether one to like three players show up or whether 100 players show up, you still guarantee your pricing and you can scale it up, right? And just like any other business, you don't want to be obnoxious with it, but I think the best thing to do is start there, right? Understanding what communities work best in your areas, right? Is it Magic, One Piece, Lorcana? And then once you get those communities healthy, now you start introducing other card games to them, right? Ironically, I promise you, a lot of my players from in my Lorcana community, they were other card players, but they saw how great the prize support was, so they gave Lorcana a try, and now they love Lorcana, right? So now I'm building my Lorcana community organically from other card players coming into the space. So my best advice is is just give back to your community and they will come back to you. They'll support the store. I promise. That's my biggest advice.
I've always felt like tournaments are like lost leads for stores or LGSs. Like that's what you want to do and have to
Yeah.
get people in that store.
Hmm.
Costco does it with their $1.50 hot dog and sodas. So
Hmm.
it's a good precedent to have. And I agree, man. The pricing shouldn't be the tournament shouldn't be profitable. Tournaments
Hmm.
aren't necessarily what's going to make you your margins. It's moving the product, it's selling the singles, it's buying in stuff. I think that's something that's
Yeah.
needs to be consistent. Like you need to be moving and turning stuff. I always tell people I'm more in the flipping business than in the card business per
Yep.
se, because I don't buy any of these cards to keep. I buy them to resell.
Yeah.
And it's important to have your liquidity always available. And I'm sure there's big
Mhm.
collections or people that are coming in and selling you a lot of stuff, and it's a big store, and you have to have this access to inventory to be able to supplement the player base that you guys are having, right?
100%. Oh, well, 100%. And it's funny that you actually nailed it, right? So what really led me to where I love this space so much, it reminds me of the pawn shop model, right? So like the whole idea isn't really to where like my where I make my money isn't from the foot traffic that comes in here. And it's like you just said, I'm not gonna make money on my tournaments. And I'm not, quite frankly, I'm not going to rely on making money on people coming into my shop and buying from me, right? If that was the case, I would have never opened up a brick and mortar. The whole point is you want to attract the consumers that come into you. And I'm not saying take advantage of community because I would never do that, right? Because I do when I buy their cards from them, I actually offer more than the surrounding stores, right? And I guarantee this. I say if someone offers you over there, you tell me what it is, and I'll offer you more. If not to take away business from them, but anyways, the point is that I want to buy as much as I can from here, and I'll sell on TCG Player. I'll sell when I go to these bigger these conventions, right? Um, and it requires my team and I to work harder because we have to go out there and we have to go find out where these conventions are because we'll buy collections at those conventions, and I'll buy those the bigger collections at 50%. Right now, I can come back, sell it for cheaper than market to my own community, so now they can have to take advantage of buying more. But I still could capture at least 15% margin, right? Which is great minimum, right? Or if I go on TTB Player, I can still capture great margin on there as well. So, yeah, if as a brick and mortar though, I do not rely on the tournaments that, like you just said, it's loss leader, but it's marketing, right? You have to market your business, and I love this form of marketing.
So speaking
Yeah.
of tournaments, and thanks for breaking that down for us. I really appreciate it because I think a lot of people don't know. Well, not everybody's gonna know what goes on behind the scenes of owning a card shop, but
Yeah.
people definitely hear about your tournaments because some of these, let's say marketing campaigns, right, are pretty huge, man. I'm looking at the Merlin 10K tournament that you're gonna be having at Southside Gaming on May 3rd through 4th. That's a
Yeah.
2-day event, 10K in prizing. This is like top caliber player activity. You know what I mean? Like we're thinking of even like
Yeah.
dang, we like these are like tournaments you could fly to if you're not from the area. So
Mhm.
this and for sure has the attention of people all the way over here on the West Coast. Have you ever heard of people coming out from like maybe outside of the country, or what are some of the what are some of the what are some of the experiences you've had when throwing these tournaments? Like what kind of people show up?
All over the country. Matter of fact, all over the world, right? I have a lot of players from South America, from Europe. It's crazy because they come up to me and they start talking to me a little bit. I'm like, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm expecting them to say like Northern Florida. "Oh, I'm from Philadelphia." I'm like, "You came all the way out here from there?" He goes, "Yeah, thank you guys for having us." And matter of fact, I'm the type to where you know there's some players that will come to me and they'll say, "Oh, I loved your event. Thank you so much." I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna come to our next one?" And they're from like Northeast or whatever. And they say, "No, we can't. We can't. We don't have the means to do it." And they just told me they drove 8 hours or I'm sorry, like a day or two to get here. I'm the type where I flew them out for the next event, right? Just because it's not they drove all the way out here, right? And they could do the store, but we get players from all over the world, and I can't say how as a business owner how blessed I am. But taking a step outside of those shoes for a second and just looking at it from the outside looking in, it's actually really fascinating what it is that has been created, right? I mean, we're talking about when the sets first come out, we can theoretically we create the meta, right? You see some of these decks. I mean, when when we saw what's it what deck was it? The blue steel with the Oswald, and I'm upset because
Yeah.
Oswald's what actually got me back into the game, right? And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, this card's amazing, but I couldn't make it work. Next thing you know, they come in, Zan comes in here with his team and they make it work, right? But it's fascinating because you start happened literally at our shop, right? It's cool.
Mhm.
But which allows us to look into the future, and we have big plans for the future because of that, right? We're able to put together, but we want to be able to contribute more to the community, to not the community, but like to the game itself. So we put together like a plan for the upcoming years to where we're going to do some really neat things with that as well, that concept. But it's to answer that question, it's amazing. I mean, we have people all over the country coming. It's really it's a humbling experience, to say the least.
So I've never gone to a Southside gaming tournament.
Mhm.
Me as I've never been to Florida actually. So
Really? Oh,
yeah,
we gotta
yeah.
get you guys
Yeah,
out here. What?
Kevin
We'll
and I have
talk.
not been to
We'll talk.
Florida yet.
Listen,
Um,
we'll talk after this, and we'll make that happen. We'll make accommodations. Y'all are definitely coming down to one of our next events.
yeah, man. I would love to go check it out. For anybody else who's like interested on that level, like what can they expect? Like at one of your tournaments, like of this degree.
All right. All right. So first and foremost, right? This why I like hosting these events is because, like I said, I come from the poker world, right? So being able to host an event to where you're able to get the experience and playing some of not some of the best players in the world because they're all traveling to our event, right? You're going to be able to get the experience playing against them, not just in top cut. I'm talking about grinding to get to top cut, right? You're going to be able to experience that. You're going to be able to experience high end prizing. You're also going to be able to experience in the event that for whatever reason variance is a real thing and you don't run well in this tournament. We have major side events, right? So our side events are just as good as our majors, and we have 8-man pods, 6-man pods that fire. And I'm talking about you have the ability to get enchanted for a $25 pod, right? Not only that, our judges, we have legitimate judges that you'll see at a DLC, right? So you're going to get a well organized event with that. Then you're also going to have the ability to play on stream. We have multiple streaming setups with live commentators, right? So there's so much that goes into these events that you're going to be able to feel firsthand as if you are at a DLC or a major event, right? So coming to this event, you're going to not only experience that, but you're going to experience the being face to face in a room with the best players in the world, and you get to pick their brains. I've experienced everyone. I'm talking about from every caliber, right? From Bivens to Zan. These guys, they're so welcoming and they're so nice and so cool to commingle with. That pick their brains. Like you know, I, I don't know any other sport industry where you can sit down and sit down with the LeBron Jameses or the Michael Jordans, to be honest with you, and to pick their brains, right? So it's fascinating, but it's definitely worth coming to the event. I'm not just saying that because I'm the owner, but it is the experience is like nothing else. I get so excited. I have to stop playing in my own events now because I can't focus when I'm playing. So now I'm a little jealous because I can't be. But I would love, I don't know. You guys got to come out to our event. I don't know how else to say it.
You
Yeah, we
just
mentioned
described the DLC, right? That was a DLC description
Yeah.
if I've ever heard one.
it. Yeah.
And that's the caliber of tournaments that you're having at your local game store, at your store itself. So yeah, anyone that's listening, anyone that's in that area, stay tuned to when we announce our first visit to Southside Gaming for sure.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And it's now that we're talking right now, it's going to be much quicker than y'all think. I promise you.
That's
So,
dope, man. That's
Well,
dope. There's a decent amount of people that play in like our areas, your area too. The last tournament we had here was around 90 people. I'm looking at this one, the last Southside Gaming tournament. It's at 147 players. 147 people showing up. It's like the size of a regional event. Which is really cool to see. Especially if you've never been to like this style event. It's one of my favorite things to kind of see everybody in one room that plays at this locals or this locals. Like, oh, this store is like an hour away, but they came over here, and this store is like down the street. Like you said, people from around the world, man. The different language, people speaking different languages too, which is really cool. Definitely made a lot of
yeah.
friends from other countries. At just big events in general. So this sounds exciting, man. What about pricing wise? Like, what are they? So it says 10K. Like, how does that break down in terms of pricing to the player base?
So I like going top 16, right? And typically, and we say 10K, but it's a scaling model. My team has to, hold me back because I want to do much. I want to do more, but there's gonna be a big event coming soon. Stay tuned. But typically, yeah, it's typically we like doing like top 16. I love being able to have like a top cut of 16, right? I typically believe in that, but it's some may say it is top heavy, so I have to go take a look back at the numbers. I don't know on the top of my head, but if it's a 10K and let's just say it's top 16 prizing, first place is I believe walks away no less than like 3,500 to 5K. I have to say, I'll double check on that, but like we like it to where I like it to where it's like it's not super top heavy, but first place you go out there, it's worth your while, you know.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to be in first
Fully agree
place.
with
Yeah,
that.
it's hard to be first place
Absolutely.
after a
yeah,
day two, because you got to make day two into that top 16 bracket.
yeah. And I'm a big believer. I hate. Oh my god, I hate when there's splits. I hate when people split. I don't know why I just hate it, but I try to encourage people to play it out so they can get the experience of playing for actually playing with pressure on when you're playing for first and second prizing, in the finals, you didn't make it. You didn't, no one split prizing, and you're actually playing for it. The decision making is different because there's a lot on the line, and I don't think a lot of players grasp that concept. But then again, I see it from the flip side of things where a lot of players they want they're in the money, they want to make their money, and they want to net. But I always encourage players to play it out.
You want to see a
Yeah.
champion. You want to see a first place, right?
I want to see a champion.
There's
Listen, the
time that
decision
goes into that. I think there's time that goes into that, but not even to take away from, like, just to even go back, building a deck to win the tournament versus building a deck to top the tournament is a whole different deck building
whole
process.
different.
Because if people are going to be splitting and you put in the effort to build a deck to win the event, that's going to take away your effort and what you're trying to accomplish your goal, right? So yeah, I like when the stores offer a split, but it's like a jury selection where one person says no, we're playing it
Yeah.
all out.
Yeah, that's how it is, and that's exactly how it is, right? When we let everyone know ahead of time, listen, you guys can do whatever if you guys want to do it, that's fine. One, like you just said, one person says no, that's it, and a conversation. Because I don't like. There's been times where we had to learn from that because there's been times where in our locals, when we first opened up, there were some players that were felt pressured when they split, and it's not a fun experience where there's like, let's just say it's top eight. One person doesn't want to chop, and then they're all ganging up on that one person doesn't feel well. And now this is the locals, right? So the next week comes and they all look at them different. So we have to step in as a store to where we can mitigate that type of environment or like make sure that that doesn't occur because we don't want people to feel bad, right? So we try to be hands on with that decision as well. So this way, if one person doesn't want to do it, they don't feel like they're the sour one in the batch. If that makes sense.
No,
Yeah,
I
so
get you.
some stores have done like blind draws where it's like you just put a piece of paper down. We're gonna look at all the papers when everyone turns them in. If one says no, then you guys play. We're not gonna know who said no.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's kind of the point, right? Is there's a
yeah.
lot of ways around stuff. But definitely can agree with you in some ways. I think the only time I'm comfortable splitting or I'm down to split is if I'm tired, I'm sleepy, and I want to go home. Outside of
Yeah,
that, if the incentive is not necessarily worth it to take whatever it is in comparison. Also, sometimes you feel very confident and you just want to go in with that heat, with that streak, and take it all for the prize for yourself. But the amount of winners that you have in the turn, there's only one winner, and I think there's a lot of people that when they sign up for tournaments, they don't believe that they can win, and it's very it's very much a point that sometimes I like to make where it's like, if you're going to play a tournament, you have to believe that you can win. That doesn't need to be your goal per se, but you have to believe that you can do it just because it's going to help the integrity of the game itself. You're going to be playing at that high caliber. And with a lot of prizing on the line, there's a lot of people that not only believe that they can win, but are certain that they can win. And
yeah.
it's good. It's good that exists in TCGs. I think the competition's healthy. Is there ever points where, do you ever witness it at the store where there's a little too much competition going on?
Oh, definitely, definitely, and it's we're talking about it is which is great that there's a competition out there, but we're talking about we are grown men here. Well, for the most part, there is a child's game, but I think the ages are anywhere between 16 to like mid 30s, right? So because of that, you have to be very careful on how you have to step in when there's any an argument, right? Because it could it could get out of hands. Hasn't happened in our store, but I've seen it in other stores where I've witnessed it getting out of hand because and because of that, that is why we dump resources into judges, into a team that oversees No, not not just the entirety of everything, but on a micro level, I have multiple judges that could go into in kind of like mile down the tone before it even gets to that point because it happens. And there's also a lot of players that'll just storm off when they leave. And what we try to do is we try to give an experience to where it comes down to it does come down to giving back because a lot of times these players they want to walk away with something as well, and that's why they get so competitive, not just winning, but they want to walk away with something so they don't waste their time. So that's another thing that we have to consider is there's a lot of players that don't win all the time, so you have to make sure they're happy. So to answer that question, we see it from time to time where we have to make sure we step in a little bit, simmer down the altercation, and make it like it was a friendly, because at the end of the day, it's a friendly game, right?
Yeah, I think it goes back to like sportsmanship, right? Like at the end of the day, like I think sportsmanship is very important to a lot of us. I know you say you enjoy poker, right? There's
Mhm.
for sure a specific type of the way of play. Like you got to keep a professional game state and stuff, and you got to accept that like rules are rules and rulings are rulings,
Yep.
and it's just a game at the end of the day, and there is luck involved. But yeah, but the best part is really like when it's all wrapped up and you can say like, oh, this is like your top cut, this is your finalist, and these are your winners, and like you said, like
Yeah.
walking away with the prizing feels good, and there's some
Yeah,
people
of
who
course.
and there's some people who just go just for fun too, which is awesome. People just want to support the community,
Mhm.
like you said, they want to test their skills amongst like 100+ player tournaments because it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's definitely a
Mhm.
lot. It takes a lot out of you, man. Sometimes I feel like I'm not prepared and I'm like hungry midway the tournament and whatnot.
Mhm.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you giving us the rundown on like the like not just the business model but like your overall model for Southside Gaming on how you're trying to prioritize the community. It definitely shows that you're giving back in terms of the pricing.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's about too, man. Yeah, like we were talking about, there's like no official events right now, and like these type of events are definitely are what keep is what's keeping the game afloat. Especially on streams, man. I feel like a lot of people were watching that stream in the beginning of the format. How have you seen like your overall like online presence change since like the you said 10 months that you've been on your journey with Southside Gaming
Oh.
specifically?
Oh, yeah, 10 months now, yeah, and month after month, I mean, not even month to month, event after event, you start seeing the numbers going up and up, progressing, and because of that, we have to adapt to that as well. So I don't know if you'll notice if you go back to some of our earlier streams, you'll start noticing that we've evolved, whether it was another stream, whether it was higher quality cameras, whether it was a different angle, because we take the feedback and we use all the it's productive criticism, right? Because one thing that I noticed is that when you really have to pay attention to the comments and then you have to pay attention to during the live stream, there's a lot of good feedback you get from it where I think a lot of other businesses or owners would be combative with when someone would say, I can't see the angle, or there's a glare, or you guys are talking too much, or there's a lot of noise in the background. I take that all into consideration so we could do better, right? So you'll notice as event after event, it does get better the production wise, right? And we're evolving from the previous, kind of like Iron Man, right? Tony Stark, uh, the suits just to get a little upgrade here, every failure. So same thing with us, right? We try to do better and better every time.
That's good. That's good, healthy,
Mhm.
genuine growth, and that's great to see from a big, huge LGS owner like yourself. Again, kudos to you, Devin, for not only holding it down in the Southside Gaming in South Florida, just providing an excellent space for people to just have fun and play card games because that's what it's all about. We are going to be wrapping up more of the final thoughts, but I gotta ask you. I want to bring this question back for our guests. Do you have a favorite Disney movie, and what is it and why?
My favorite Disney movie is I would have to say Toy Story, right? It just reminds me of my childhood, reminds me of my family, my mo for whatever reason, was saying that, like, when my mom and dad, they got me, Buzz Lightyear and Woody back in a long time ago. My mom and I would love and there's another one. A lot of people don't I don't think a lot of viewers may know this one unless you're a really big Disney head. James and the Giant Peach, alright? I used to watch that with my mom all the time, but, yeah, those are my 2 favorites.
Nice. We're getting Pixar soon, so maybe we'll see you running,
I know.
a Toy Story deck at one of the DLCs or something,
Oh,
man.
I'm
hopefully
supposed to be
hopefully
getting
they're
like Black
good.
Cauldron this year and Pixar next year. So yeah, I'm excited.
It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. So many cool things that they can do with this game. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I think that's like you mentioned earlier, like the future of the game is bright. And yeah, but thanks to people like you, by the way. So a big thanks to you from us over here at Lorcana Goons. I'm super excited to check out an event in the future. Where can people find your social media and whatnot everywhere?
Oh, go ahead and go to our Instagram. Southside Gaming. Go on our Discord's huge. If you guys can go on our Discord as well, maybe I'll go in a comment in the video and I'll give you the exact Discord channel. But Discord, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, we're all over, and typically it's all Southside Gaming.
Yeah, you guys are gonna want to keep up with them. Especially so you can watch the stream for their tournament in this new format post ban list. Before we go, if I have a couple more thoughts. What if you had to think of one deck that's gonna be the first place deck of your next tournament for Lorcana? What's it gonna be?
Uh, what do I want it to be, or what do I think it's going
Well,
to be? I
okay.
think
Both is fine.
I like the three decks I like right now. I like Purple Steel. I love Blur. I'm a Blurple guy, so I love Blurple. I want to see
Yep.
Blurple win. I like Purple Steel, and I like Green Purple a lot.
Nice. Okay. Okay. You like the
Purple Steel,
amethyst
Green
color?
Purple.
Yeah. I feel like
Yep.
as a
Love
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Amethyst.
I feel like as a Yu-Gi-Oh
Yeah,
player, I also like the amethyst color. I like to draw cards. I think
yeah.
drawing cards is pretty good.
Love drawing cards. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Rogue in Hearthstone as well.
Ah,
Just
yes.
the combos. I love it, but I want to see Blurple win, man. I love that. I love that it has a shot now. So
Nice. Yeah, we were just talking about that actually. We were just talking a little while
yeah,
ago how we think Purple is like a tier one deck now. So I'm pretty excited about that. But
I
I
love
can't I can't
Blurple.
wait to
Yeah,
see that, man. I can't wait to check out the stream so we can watch it from our end over here. Make sure to go check out their Instagram. Are you guys streaming on Twitch and YouTube?
Twitch and YouTube. Oh, and definitely check out everyone check out our YouTube as well. We're starting to do a podcast as well, where every Wednesdays we're streaming. It's more or less just talking about our shop and what more of a like a friendlier like not like a major niche where we're talking about that, but it's fun. But definitely YouTube. Check out YouTube. We're making a lot of content now.
All right. My last question
Mhm.
for you: what's the craziest card, like single card, you've ever got to buy, or that your shop's ever?
Craziest card? It's a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What is it?
So I saw one come in. The seal of Ori Coco Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm sorry for yeah. I bought a seal of Ori Komos from back a long time ago where they ran it for during the Books a Million days.
Mhm.
And it has a different. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it has a different color card back. There's some
Mhm.
circulating.
It's like the upper deck events, yeah, and they
Oh
gave
Yes.
him the
Yep.
yeah,
staff.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
gave him the staff to play, and it's basically
Yep.
it was like an overpowered card during that
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Yep, that's the craziest card I ever bought. And a few Worlds cards for Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's all Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh, and then we have a super cool. So we bought a serial Luffy prize card.
Nice.
Not only that, but we got the serial number our it's 954 for our area code. Super
Oh,
cool.
Okay, yeah,
that's
Oh yeah,
cool.
that's our area
That's
code
dope.
954. So
That's dope.
so that's probably the coolest purchase that we purchased so far. So yeah.
So you gotta send me a picture
You
of
guys
those. You gotta
probably
see
have
it.
some. Definitely will. You guys probably get some really cool stuff coming your way, though. You guys got a lot of exposure every week.
there's some cool stuff that shows up. Some stuff we're not able to throw the liquidity into. I couldn't buy a seal. I'll just straight
Um,
up tell you that right now. I don't know
yeah.
what cereal Luffy's go for, so I don't know if I could afford something like that. But definitely some cool stuff, man. Again, this has been the Quest with a Guest podcast. We're wrapping it up, but thank you to any of our Goon Squad members that are still here with us, watching till the very end. We really appreciate that support. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below, and we'll see you Goons next time.